Welcome to News from the Crabby Coffee Shop with your hosts, Don McClain from Jason and Alexis in the Morning on My Talk 1071, Garage Logic's newsman, Mr. FYI, John Haidt, and the crabbiest guy in the coffee shop, Kenny Olson.
It appears as though something has happened in the motorcade route. Something, I repeat, has happened in the motorcade route. There's numerous people running up the hill alongside Elm Street, there by the Simmons Freeway. Several police officers are rushing up the hill at this time. Stand by just a moment, please. Something has happened in the motorcade route. Stand by, please.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago. Vice President Lyndon Johnson has left the hospital in Dallas, but we do not know to where he has proceeded. Presumably, he will be taking the oath of office shortly and become the 36th President of the United States.
Let's talk about why John Wayne was a bastard instead.
No. What are you talking about? Oh, my God. We just did that moving, clips about the assassination of our 35th president, and then you're like, I don't like this story anymore. I want to change it.
Talk about setting up the listener and then hitting him with the right hook.
Chuck Berry he'd hire a local band when he was on tours, so they'd have to know his songs, and he'd be in the middle of a song, and he'd just change the key randomly because he was a bastard. I want to be the role of Chuck Berry today. Let's talk about why John Wayne was an asswipe.
Well, we can talk about that, too.
No, actually, Vic sent me something yesterday, and it was new documents. This is from a press conference yesterday. I'm going to read to you for a while, so just sit back, relax, and turn up the monitor and your headphones.
I might fall asleep.
Just hear how fantastic I sound.
Okay.
A core. Oh, and John, remind me in front of Joe Souchere, remind me to say a corp instead of a core.
Corp, okay.
Yeah, because that'll drive him crazy.
For the record, Dawn is actually leaning back and laying down in her chair.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
Up.
A core of researchers looking into the 1963 assassination of JFK say they have unearthed proof of his alleged assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald, was involved in an operation by the CIA mere months before the killing, reigniting questions about whether whether he was truly alone in his decision to kill JFK. This press conference was yesterday. The Mary Farrell Foundation, a bunch of attorneys, told reporters that the foundation obtained a document.
A preschool.
Random people assembled.
It's such a cliche. I'm just not into it. I feel like we're making a mistake, and I think a lot of people listening just don't even care. And I guess it would be our job to make you care, wouldn't it?
I care, Kenny.
Everybody's so set in their opinion on this. I don't think we're going to change anybody's mind.
There's so many people that'll believe what you say.
Yeah, and John, for the record, there's the right opinion and there's the wrong opinion.
Yeah, there's the right opinion. So. It's the right opinion, and it's John's opinion.
That's right. Thank you.
Anyway, the foundation obtained documentation relating to the still classified covert operation approved by senior CIA officials 3 months before JFK's death. And the reason this is a pretty serious claim is that because the CIA previously has said, no, he didn't work for us, we didn't have him. But here's the deal. Not. Here's the deal with yesterday's press conference and what they've said yesterday. They don't provide us proof. They don't give us the document. They don't tell what the document is. Now, Biden issued an order, I believe it was in 2021, if I remember right, that they have to release the documents by a certain date. That date is next Monday? Thursday.
December 15th.
The 15th.
Well, great.
Yeah, so, but if you think we're actually going to figure out what happened and we're finally going to know, no. You're knave, as we say. You're very knave. Yeah.
What the hell?
You're knave.
And so I think the question here is, what are they hiding?
They're hiding that they already knew everything about Lee Harvey Oswald that there was to know, and then lied to everybody saying they didn't know it because they're covering their asses.
So they're just
that started in 1963.
So they're covering up basically their own embarrassment.
Exactly.
Because without him being involved in whatever this, CIA operation was, would he have killed the president? What is this operation?
Well, now I got to pull this from the floor, okay?
So now this is where we light a fire under John, because John believes that he acted alone. Go ahead, John.
This is not new stuff. This is a book from 1992.
That's a big book.
600 pages, which I read about 15 years ago.
Oh.
And
what's
the
it
gentleman, Oswald and the CIA, John Newman is the author.
615 pages of inaccurate information.
Who are you?
Turn your mic off, Ross.
Mr. Newman, an assistant professor at the University of Maryland, wrote a long, lengthy book about JFK in Vietnam also, which I have not read. I did read this, and I'm sorry to say, after Kenny texted me, I went up and looked at right now, I have about 15 books on the shelf about the JFK assassination.
Really?
I've probably gotten rid of another 20 that I read.
You are an expert.
I was a geek, complete assassination geek.
So tell us why you just give us the basics on why you believe he acted alone.
Why he acted alone?
Yeah.
Because he was not a fan of John Kennedy. He was a member of and part of the CIA story is he was a member of the Fair Play for Cuba group. He was a big fan of Castro. He handed out leaflets in New Orleans for the Fair Play for Cuba group in early 1963. And the CIA had their eye on him, as did the FBI. But the CIA, and he also was in Mexico City at one point where the CIA investigated him, trying to get to Cuba and having a hard time doing that. And he was quoted as saying he would like to kill John F. Kennedy. Well,
Go ahead, finish.
CIA had all this information, but then denied knowing anything about him when they started investigating after the assassination.
I would propose to you that what Oswald was doing in Mexico was on behalf of the CIA.
Well, I disagree.
And the fact that they covered it up is proof, not proof, but pretty good proof that they're involved, that he was one of their people.
There's actually no proof at all, Kenny, there that you said, even though you just said pretty good proof. But
what about the shooting of who did he shoot a couple of months before?
The Judge Walker?
Yeah. And the fact that he missed at very close range, to me, is very, very telling.
But he wasn't that close, and Walker was inside a house.
Yeah, he shot through a window. Big deal.
So why did he want to shoot Judge Wapner?
CIA told him to.
Judge Wapner.
I'm glad you said Wapner, Don. That's what I thought of too.
Yeah. I think that's a good question,
Why
Don.
did he want to shoot him?
Go ahead, John.
I don't remember politically. There were some issues. Walker was a right-wing character, shall we say, and Oswald obviously was not, since he was for the Fair Play for Cuba group. I think Walker also was a general, wasn't he, at one point? Or he wasn't a judge. He was a general. Yeah, he wasn't a judge.
I think he was a general, yeah.
And I believe that Oswald perhaps thought they weren't aligned ideologically.
So when did he try to attempt that assassination? Well, when was that?
Was it spring or summer of 63? I don't remember.
Same year?
Date. Oh yeah, it was the same year.
And
yes.
he was out of jail?
No, they didn't know it was him.
Oh, okay. I'm like, so he just gets away with attempted murder and doesn't serve a sentence?
They never caught him.
They didn't catch him. They just found out in retrospect.
Clearly, you've never watched the 8-hour Kevin Costner JFK movie.
Oh,
don't even bring that. Don't even bring that up.
That's all
It's
just a
so
story.
bad.
It's all lies. I hate it that people, can we all agree that you can't just believe a filmmaker? A lot of people believed all of that as fact, which really pissed me off.
Right.
I couldn't agree more with Don. It's annoying as hell.
Oliver Stone taking liberties? No.
It's just like, dude, don't mess with history.
So I'm sitting in the chair Monday afternoon, minding my own business, watching on the History Channel, Ancient Aliens.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
And these jackasses proposed.
Oh, I love Ancient Aliens.
Oh, my God. It's such a great show. And it explains everything. Everything that's happened in the world that's a mystery
Yeah, that's right.
can be blamed on aliens, including JFK's murder. They propose that JFK was digging into and sent letters to, well, here it is right here, to the CIA and to NASA, wanting to know more information about UFOs. Have you read and heard about this?
So who was asking about UFOs?
JFK.
Yeah, okay.
And
he goes, so
yeah, what's going on here? And one of his legitimate concerns was that there was a lot of UFO sightings at the time over Russia, over the USSR, and he was worried that they would think that it was actually the United States, so he wanted more information on that, et cetera, et cetera. But the show proposed that the CIA freaked out and mere weeks later had him killed in Dallas.
because they work with aliens?
Because aliens have not only did they help with the NASA and the rockets and getting to the moon and all that, and on and on and on. It's so much bullshit that I can barely say it out loud. Seriously.
Well,
yeah.
This is a podcast, so please do say it out loud.
Anyway, they found a memo, and here's the great part, that there was a memo that the CIA tried to get rid of by throwing in a fireplace. How many times have we seen this in a movie?
What is this?
Movie.
Oh my God, it's a plot.
Yeah,
And then
actually,
the cat goes in there and just like takes
yeah,
it up.
and one of the guys grabbed the memo, and then they showed us a picture of the memo, and it's got little burn spots that, frankly, look like they were done by a Zippo. Seriously.
This is amazing.
You throw something into the fire, and poof, it's gone within a second. You can't get your hand in there.
Yeah.
So I found that kind of interesting. But Kennedy was concerned that UFOs seen by the Soviets would be misinterpreted by them as being U.S. Air Corps craft. Number two, Kennedy's inquiry could have been connected to his obvious interest in space travel at the time of the alleged composition of the note. Number three, there was at the time, and there still is, a natural concern about UFOs at the time due to a spurt of incidents.
Wow. Can we use a different word?
That's what I thought.
Interesting.
Anyway, if you want to look this up, and it's not appearing anytime soon, maybe you can find it on the web. It's season 12. It's Ancient Aliens, season 12, episode 9. It's called The Majestic 12. And yeah, it is interesting, but I think they lost me on that. I don't think that JFK was killed because he wanted to find out what the CIA and NASA knew about aliens. See anything on that, John? Other than that,
I don't.
BS.
What is the biggest theory? I've forgotten.
I'm glad you asked, and I did not.
What a setup!
Oh, look at this.
I did not set you up for this. 10 crazy JFK conspiracy theories.
It's like Letterman.
Yeah, look, you do want to talk about this. You thought you didn't, but you
Number 10.
I did all this show prep, so let's not waste it.
Please.
Number 10, it was an accident. The Secret Service guy in the car that was trailing stood up and, being a very bad gun user, had his finger on the trigger. They went over a bump or a jerk, and he accidentally pulled the trigger and blew JFK's head off.
Oh, whoa.
What's fascinating is every one of these you name, including that one, there have been full books written just on the theory.
Oh, there's
which is according one theory. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
and you've read them, John.
According to this, over 1,000 books have been written about the assassination. And I would propose that they're just doing this to sell books.
Well,
I could write one.
Right, absolutely.
There's a guy, Robert Groden, who is a, quote, assassination expert.
Yeah,
he is always
Charles
down
Grodin's brother. Go on.
He's always down in Dealey
Very
Plaza.
put upon.
Always down at Dealey Plaza. He was one of the first guys who saw the Zapruder film and went on TV all the time to talk about it. And he's written 5 or 6 books, and his whole life, all he's done is he sits at Dealey Plaza and sells his books. His theories, I think, are goofy as hell, but he put out one book that was everything photographically related to the assassination, which I own because it's got every photo you could want in it.
Yeah.
But you're right. This guy's turned this into
a business. Is this
A
how he makes a
cottage
living?
industry.
Yeah, and he started what was a Ritter film. I think they released in '67. That's when he started doing all this. So that's all he's done for 45, 50 years, whatever it is.
Number
That's his
9.
job.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Umbrella Man did it.
Oh yeah,
Remember Umbrella Man standing
Sure.
up?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that guy was interviewed, and he says it was a reference to British PM Neville Chamberlain's umbrella and appeasement of Hitler and the Nazis.
Yeah, it's a form of protest in the UK.
Do you suppose JFK, when he saw the Umbrella Man right before his brains were splattered on the trunk lid, the back end there, do you think he saw the Umbrella Man and go, "Oh, damn, he got me"? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think he looked at it and said, I didn't know it was supposed to rain today.
Yeah, it's sunny out. What the hell?
Number 8.
Number 8.
And I love this one because today was the first day I had seen this. The Coca-Cola conspiracy.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
good. Yes,
Sure, I
let's
know
hear
it
it.
is.
Shooter Lee Harvey Oswald was a Dr. Pepper fan. It's funny, he didn't appear in any of the commercials.
Yeah.
Be
Aren't
a
we
pepper,
all?
I'm a pepper, you're a pepper, be a pepper. Anyway,
Okay.
and we know
Hands
that
down.
because even Oswald's favorite beverage is part of the intrigue. In a conspiracy of one, Jim Moore sets out a theory that Oswald.
God.
You know him?
I do. Yeah, he's
Okay.
Yeah, he's a
Oh, this is
certified-
delicious, John. I love this
certified
one.
nuts.
I love this
Tell
one.
me.
Oswald acted alone because after the assassination, Oswald was seen in the Texas School Book Depository drinking Coca-Cola instead of his beloved Dr. Pepper. Moore believes the only reason for that is that he chose the wrong soft drink from the vending machine because he was nervous.
And that's why he did it?
Yeah, not
why
that
we know.
maybe they were out of Dr. Pepper, maybe, you know.
Maybe he kind of just preferred Coke second to Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Number 7. And
Number
Said he was-
7.
I didn't know he was hanging around. I think he just
He
started
didn't
running.
hang around,
No,
so
he
that's-
started
yeah.
running.
Yeah,
he went.
yeah,
I thought he went downstairs to the break room.
he immediately went downstairs. He was seen allegedly in the break room by one person. That's all. And then, according to the timeline, he was literally in the building only for another minute or so.
Yeah. Well, maybe he ran with the soda, you know?
So, my
Looks
question
more
is,
natural.
Yeah.
Ran.
even if you hate the president, if you knew he was going by the front door of where you work, wouldn't you at least, like me, go out to the front steps and give him the finger?
That's as opposed to shooting him, you mean?
He sure
I
did
gave,
give him the finger, the trigger finger.
I gave Clinton the finger once in downtown Minneapolis.
You did?
Yeah, he's going by in a motorcade, and he was holding up traffic. I was a delivery guy, and he made me
was
mad.
holding-
So I got out of my car and I walked to the intersection, and as he blasted by, I gave him the finger.
What are you,
Screw
my mom?
Number 7.
Number
7.
Woody Harrelson's dad did it. Come
Oh,
on.
Yeah, we know
Oh,
that
I
one.
kind of heard this one, but please remind me.
Well, evidently, I'll just read it here. Charles Harrelson, father of Woody, says that Harrelson Sr. was one of the 2 gunmen and that he was later arrested dressed as a tramp in Dealey Plaza. So he was one of the tramps.
Yeah, that's been disproven, of course.
Yeah, police eventually named 3 other men as the tramps, and in '68, Harrelson was actually convicted of murdering a businessman in a contract hit in South Texas.
Yeah, he was a hitman.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Woody's dad was a hitman.
Yeah.
Number 6,
Number 6.
the Better Call Saul theory.
Oh.
Bob
You know-
Odenkirk did it?
In Appointment in Dallas, police officer Hugh McDonald blames the Soviets for contracting Saul, a rogue CIA agent and assassin, to kill JFK. Apparently, McDonald freelanced for the CIA and met Saul at the agency's HQ. He later tracked down Saul to obtain a confession, but Saul apparently shot JFK from a building across the street from Oswald's perch. Oh, so on the other side of Dealey Plaza.
Oh, yeah. I used to deliver plans to contractors over. Well, I worked for a company called Lanier. Anyway,
But
I used to
if he
deliver
was-
every day over there.
If he was over there, that wouldn't explain why his head blew off the way it did, would it?
Back and to the left.
Yeah,
Back and to the left.
back and to the left.
Remember? That is a stupid movie.
Number 5.
5.
Number 5.
The Black Dog Man theory.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Black Dog Man.
I immediately think of Led
Black
Zeppelin.
Dog Man. Won't you come?
Black holes. Take out the president.
Are you guys done?
Yep.
Yeah,
Am I the only mature one here today?
Please.
that's odd. That's odd.
Robert Groden argues. Oh,
there he is.
Robert
That's what I was
Groden.
talking about.
Yeah.
Bob. Yeah.
That a Black Dog Man figure can be seen in a bush in frame 413 of the Zapruder film. The problem with that theory is that the House Select Committee on Assassinations concluded that an individual was in front of the bushes, not behind them. Bill Miller argues that no, the man is actually the groundskeeper, Emmett Hudson. No one's ruled out the black doggy yet, however. Oh, that's funny. So I have to admit, the man on the grassy knoll, how everybody says they see an assassin way back in the trees behind the fence, I can't make that out.
That's
never...
Black Dog Man. That's what you're talking about.
Oh, so
that's
that's Black Dog Man.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't work for me.
It doesn't for me. There was a series, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, a 5-part series, The Men Who Killed Kennedy.
Oh,
And
I had
have
that
you
on
seen
tape.
it?
It was
Yeah.
I had it labeled. It was actually, I had it on VCR. The Men That Killed That Bastard Kennedy.
Well, they spent a half hour of one of the shows going through, meticulously good. And now you can see right here the Black Dog Man. No, I can't. I don't know what you're talking about.
I've never been able to make that out. Yeah.
No, me neither.
Number 4, and this one is
Number 4.
and this one is absolutely the truth.
My favorite part of the show is the numbers. Yeah, go ahead, Kenny.
It's been the only good part, to be honest with you.
I like this topic.
As an
Go
aside.
on.
Number 4, Oswald's visit to Mexico before Kennedy's death may have been to finalize assassination plans and plot his escape. That is 100% true.
Well, that's part of what they're trying to say, these CIA pages when they come out.
Right.
Show.
Right. Oswald visited the Cuban and Russian embassies on this 6-day trip. 3 of those days may have been spent with pro-Castro groups, seemingly confirmed by journalist Oscar Contreras Latriga.
Good job, Kenny.
No, that's not even close.
Doesn't matter. It sounded
Yeah,
good.
the accent sounded good, though. So.
The conversation, however...
It's terrible.
Yeah, thank you, Don. You're the only one that's honest with me. You're the only person in my life that tells me what an ass I am.
I need you on my side, so I'll do whatever it takes.
The conversation, however, believes the journalist lived far away at the time, however, and wasn't in a position to know who Oswald was with. Okay, number 3.
Number 3.
The CIA was involved. This also
100%.
definitely true. 100%. When America's most trusted broadcaster, Walter Cronkite, announced JFK's death, we
And
heard
that's
that.
the way it is.
Yes. Everyone remembered what they were doing at the moment. John, what were you doing? You were probably suckling on your mama's bosom, weren't you?
I was 6 by then, Kenny. Come on.
God, you were already
6 years
6.
old.
You are ancient.
I'm pretty old.
Wow.
I am.
Dave Perry, a former insurance claims adjuster who has been digging through JF. So you can just be any jackass
Yeah,
off
it
the
doesn't
street
matter.
and be an expert
Hey,
here.
Kenny, you think there's a lot of books on this, by the way? Try looking up podcasts on this.
Oh,
God.
I bet.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's a ton.
See,
Some are good and
that's-
some are awful.
Now you're legitimizing what I said earlier. This is this is a cliche Crabby Coffee Shop.
No.
It's just
We're
very meta.
No, we're giving an overview of what's out there. These other people are wasting
Committing.
their time.
Anyway, this
Yeah, that's it.
this random jackass Dave Perry, a former insurance claims
Steve Perry's
adjuster.
brother. Go on.
Should have been
Yep.
gone.
Yep. Wheel in the sky keeps on. He's been digging through the files since '76. He pointed out that the CIA may have had Oswald on the payroll or overheard Oswald plotting with Soviets at their Russian embassy in Mexico. Does he have any proof? Yet. But that's absolutely true.
Niet.
That's absolutely
That's
true.
You didn't write that, did you? Somebody else wrote that.
Yeah, no, I would never have said that. No, I put anything on the prompter, I'll read it. Number two.
Number two.
The Illuminati are to blame.
Oh, give me a
The
break.
elusive Illuminati.
These aren't in order of importance, are they?
Yeah.
Oh,
They
are?
We're
Okay.
counting our way down.
So first you have to believe in the Illuminati.
Right. As the conspiracy theory goes, JFK delegated presidential power to issue silver certificates to the Treasury. They've already lost me. Which threatened the power of the Illuminati-controlled Federal Reserve. Does that make sense to you, John?
Not really, but sure.
But
I'll
they
go
control
with
the
it.
Federal Reserve. He had
Right.
another form of currency that he was giving out to special people?
Oh, like
Is that-
cigarettes.
Yeah, like golden, like what? Silver? What?
No, like cigarettes in prison.
Yeah, I get that joke. I passed over it. But what about this? There's another. You're saying there was another form of money that JFK was printing to go here. This is the real money. What?
It was
I'll read
Bitcoin.
it again. He delegated presidential power to issue silver certificates to the Treasury, which threatened the power of the Federal Reserve, which evidently is controlled by the Illuminati.
Right.
But in fact, Kennedy signed an executive order to do the opposite, intending to phase out silver certificates in favor of Federal Reserve notes. What? See, that's just confusing.
Yeah.
Drum roll.
Once again. Oh.
Number one.
Number one.
Aliens organized the hit.
Yes.
This one's got to be true. Milton William Cooper, a former U.S.
Bradley Cooper's brother. Go on.
A former U.S. radio personality
It's always those radio
and
people.
author, spread the news about Project Luna, a secret alien base on the dark side of the moon.
On the dark side.
On the dark side.
Oh, yeah.
Furthermore, he promoted the conspiracy theory that JFK was assassinated by a gas pressure device. Oh, what's that movie that came out about 5 years ago with the guy that was
No Time for
No Country for Old Men?
No Country for Old Men, thank you.
So one of those
I didn't
things.
see that because it said old men in it.
I'm going to guess that was
Didn't
more
appeal to
than
me.
5 years ago, by the way.
Yeah,
Whatever,
Country
Ross.
for
Who
Old
cares?
Men.
Nobody cares.
2007, it was 15 years ago.
Close enough.
He was
That's,
assassinated by this device that aliens supplied to the driver of the presidential limo because JFK was about to expose Washington alien collusions.
That's weird.
This is going to make me sound so dumb, and I apologize. You're going to be very
that's
upset,
easy.
Kenny.
Apologize.
That's
okay,
easy.
dummy.
Dumb.
I just think it's every time, and I love this topic. I even had a really bad dream years ago where I honestly thought I time traveled and I was at the assassination. It was
cool.
it was awful. I woke up, I was terrified and just in horrible sweats. But anyways, I digress. This whole thing I find so fascinating. Like literally I know they told him that we should cover your limo and he didn't want to, okay? Mm-hmm. But just even though a U.S. president hadn't been assassinated or killed to death in quite some time,
Killed
to death. Sorry, killed. See, I'm dumb. Everything about this is mind-boggling to me. Just that he's fully exposed in a vehicle. People can freely get near him. The parade route changed just hours before. Everything about this, you can't. It just wouldn't have flown in 1975. Now, partially because of what happened. Because
exactly.
of this.
Yeah, it's like that's why they have a Pope mobile now.
Even prior to that, to be so naive and for this to be just so out in the open and so easy access for everybody never made sense to me. Did we not learn anything from the Lincoln assassination?
Well, the same people weren't alive, I don't think. So.
Well, I think it was the Illuminati was involved in the Lincoln
I'm
assassination,
not
too.
going to call you a dummy, Ross, because I think what you hit on there is one of the reasons there's so many conspiracy theories. People
The
are
parade
amazed
route.
that it was this easy for one little lunatic to kill a guy who was so popular, so everything, and it just shattered everybody's illusions. And that's why
security.
people, and that's why people believe in a million conspiracy theories, because they think, well, this couldn't possibly have been one little twerp who,
John, have you been to Dealey Plaza?
I have not.
Well,
Ross, you have.
Yep, I have recently.
Dawn, you
Recently,
have a million times.
Yeah, I have a million times.
I went by Dealey Plaza one night in the 90s. It was about 3 a.m, and I was S-faced. I was S-faced.
Did you see the guy who's selling his books?
He was sitting there.
Yeah, at 3 a.m.
I wasn't driving. We were on our way to Austin, but we decided to shut down a club in Dallas before we went there. And even in my condition,
Was it called Baby Dolls? The club
I don't remember.
or the lodge?
Former club.
Are these all strip clubs?
Those are strip clubs. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, it was it was bands. Even in my condition, it was obvious to me that there was no way in hell that Oswald could have acted alone.
Well, you're wrong.
Kenny, that's the biggest thing.
It's funny, John. You're the only person that believes he acted alone, but yet you've never been there to see it.
I'm not the only person.
You don't know anything.
45% of the American population thinks he acted.
Well, they're idiots.
Yeah, they're wrong.
Yeah, the minority.
The minority.
The minority. They'd lose an election.
Kenny, I think what you said is perfect.
necessarily.
So I've always had doubts. I'm not beyond saying that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. I waffle back and forth. So
Waffle.
But I will say this, though,
Pick a
Kenny,
side.
to your
Pick a
point,
side.
when you go there and you walk around and you look at it, you say this would be really damn near impossible to pull off in 2022. And I'm supposed to believe that this guy pulled it off in the 60s?
Well,
I don't buy it.
It's different now. Also,
the facts that you're not throwing out there and what John doesn't realize is the Mannlicher, by the way, girlfriend, 80s, the rifle he used and the scope that he had on was a piece of crap, and it was bolt action.
That's why
So
he had shot. Yeah.
He had to cycle through, and even experts can't do that.
Well, that's not true.
If you've ever shot,
created by several experts.
If you've ever shot at a deer with any kind of rifle that's a bolt action, with a crappy scope, you'll understand, and you know that there's no way this guy acted alone.
Actually, it's been recreated with that rifle
Once.
by marksmen. No more than once. Yeah, first in 1966 by CBS News, and then
that's the one I saw.
Various times since.
I just want to point out it took about 5 split seconds for the Mannlicher joke to land, and when it did, I now have tears in my eyes. I can't.
Oh,
I can't think about anything else.
He loves it. Look at him.
The weirdest. You didn't hit the weirdest theory though. There's an entire book that I read.
LBJ did it?
No. That a guy came up through a manhole. He was one of 2 shooters.
Yeah.
Can you please call it a person hole?
Person hole.
I am offended.
Shot Kennedy along with the other guy. 2 people shot him, including one who came up through the person hole. Excuse me.
I thought he was peeking out the gutter.
Oh, I haven't heard this. Really? I just took it as he lifted the cover off.
Yeah,
Boom,
that's kind of complicated. There's another car coming. He has to really have some good
Yeah,
timing.
and those things weigh a lot.
I'm adding manhole shooter to my name of alternative rock bands if I ever start a band. That's a great name.
Well, since we're on topic and on brand right now, I think this might be a good time to mention that DK Mags.
Oh, he's good. What a professional. What a professional.
I don't know if this is the right time, but go ahead.
Exactly.
There's not going to be a right time, but we're doing it anyway.
On Old 8 in New Brighton is our full-service gun shop. I don't think they carry Mannlichers with really crappy scopes.
And also be responsible with your gun, Kenny, unlike the CIA agent who accidentally
when
shot
you're
the
handling
president.
your firearm, you don't put your finger inside the trigger guard until it's time to shoot at JFK. Anyway, they do handle a wide selection of pistols, revolvers, ammo, accessories, everything we need, holsters, suppressors, magazines. And if you have something specific in mind, special orders, no problems. No promises on the Mannlicher, though. But they'd be more than happy to assist you in tracking down and purchasing whatever firearm you want. If you have one you don't need, DK Mag's also a great source. They'll buy your gun, either a single unit or entire estates. Both DK Mags and Monticello Pawn and Gun have gunsmithing services, so you can keep things working nice. Check out the website, dkmags.com, but keep in mind now, the website does not list what's in the store So you're going to have to stop in and give them a call. Great selection, fair prices, a wonderful staff at both DK Mags on Old 8 in New Brighton and Monticello Pawn and Gun. The website, dkmags.com. All right. Wasn't that Gene show fun?
Yes.
Last week?
Before we get into that, have you ever seen the Erykah Badu video where she takes off her clothes and walks around in Dealey Plaza and she got arrested?
Yes.
She got fined for it. Yeah.
Really?
I just wanted to throw that out there. I love Erykah Badu. She's one of my favorite artists.
What was the
her
reasoning?
first album is brilliant.
She was doing a video for Window Seat, I think. Anyway, there's the kids' Window Seat, music video. She walks around and takes off her clothes, and it's just the press conferences were really funny. It was 12 years ago. I just remember the police chief talking about how they took care of the problem. I'm like, you loved it.
Yeah. It wasn't a problem per se.
Yeah, just I told her to just come over to my house next time. Okay, go on with the Gene. What?
Okay, no, this is a good segue because I just looked her up. It appears she's what they call these days an R&B singer.
Oh, she's one. Her first album,
she's
Kenny, from
fantastic.
the late '90s, is brilliant. As is the live.
Good.
MTV.
Yes,
Good.
Tyrone.
I want to get to R&B in a second, but
Tyrone
first,
is a great song.
a couple of notes from listeners. This one, who's this from? Oh, Megan. Of course it's from Megan. As always, I got to the end of today's episode and was wishing for another hour of it. I think we could have easily gone another hour, and Gene said the same thing when I talked to him later. He said he had a lot of fun, and some of his friends listened and thought it was pretty cool. The other one is from our friend Josh, who follows us on Twitter. I've been to a few of the shows he mentioned, was in the nosebleeds for the Allman Brothers Hootie show, was at Edgefest 2 when Flip opened the day as well. I wish I had gone to the Riverfest shows, but I was a stupid teeny bopper then.
He was saying Flip?
Flip, F-L-I-P-P.
I thought he was saying slip, and he was just trying to be cool and not say Slipknot.
No, but
So here I was so confused. I'm like, really, Slipknot?
No,
that was weird.
But I'll bet you Gene's probably done business with Slipknot.
Yeah, because one of their members is marrying Kelly Osbourne.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she has this child. She's pregnant with this child.
She's with child?
Which is weird because they were on the tour when I was on, and Kelly was probably 16, I think, at the time. So they've known each other for a while. And I'm like, when did this start?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, she's been with many
weird.
people. But I just thought it was like, if you know a teenager and then you grow up and date him, isn't that creepy?
Only if you were also a teenager.
No. You're an adult, and then
that doesn't
you
work.
met them when they were a teenager or a child.
That's Jerry Lee Lewis.
I think it's gross.
You mean to tell me a rock and roller would be with a teenage girl?
Yeah.
What?
No songs
I'm
have ever
shocked.
been. Oh boy, yeah.
She's got to be. She's got to be pushing 40 now.
I think so. Yeah, because that was.
She's all grown
2000.
up. Can you believe Ozzy is still alive?
No.
Him and Keith Richards. What's the deal there?
Well,
here's one from Dan. So today's Crabby Show was about the coolest podcast to date. Not to mention the one where we had the guy talking about his nipples. That was equally entertaining. I could have listened to 8 more hours of Gene. After hearing you guys talk about ZZ Top, I figured I'd share my run-in with Billy Gibbons last year. I'm a field mechanic for XL Energy. I live out of hotels for a good part of the time. Last year, I was working in Sioux Falls and wasn't able to get my units because of Sturgis. Ended up at a Ramada near the Denny Sanford Center. I don't know what that is.
It's a venue.
Hospital clinic.
He wandered.
I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah, Sanford. Jeez.
He's got both, John.
Yes.
He wandered down to the lobby that evening and saw an old guy wandering around. It said, "Why is that old effer dressed up like Billy Gibbons?" This is a thought that Kenny would have.
yeah, because you can't believe that it's actually him. That's great.
About that time, the dim light bulb went off in my 14-hour day ahead. I checked the Google. ZZ Top was playing Sturgis the next evening. About then, he was coming out from the hospitality room behind the front desk with about a half a dozen bags of chips, and I caught up to him in the parking lot. As you said, really nice guy, cool with me bothering him. We chatted for just a minute, and that was that. The band of 3 of the band had 3 of the largest motor coaches I've ever seen. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
One of the first stories he told, and I prompted him to tell it, was the Greg Allman story.
Yeah.
What T-shirt was Gene wearing?
Stax,
right?
Yeah, Stax.
I thought so.
Mm-hmm.
It was a
Stax Records.
Yeah, a Stax
Not
Records
Stax,
T-shirt.
the delicious chip that comes in a tube.
STAX Records.
Yeah.
Stax.
Yeah. And it just so happens that yesterday, Jim Stewart, do you happen to have this story, John?
I don't have it. No.
But you can talk about it at length,
sure,
right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Jim Stewart, a co-founder of Stax Record, died on Monday at age 92.
Yeah, I did see that.
And
for the record, he tipped out of the canoe.
For the record.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know anything about Stax Records. Where were they based?
In Memphis. They were the Memphis R&B label of the 60s. Booker T and the MGs started there. They were the house band, actually, which is a pretty good house band when you think about it.
And then you've got Sun Records, which is Elvis.
So, Sun's,
which is also there. But then we have is it called the Detroit Sound, John?
That's Motown.
And Motown, did the acts on Motown and Stax sound distinctly different?
Most assuredly. Motown, Berry Gordy wanted it to appeal to teenagers who were black and teenagers who were white. So he popped it up a little. There's obviously tons of R&B still in Motown, but he tried to make it a little more poppy. And Stax was just down-home Southern R&B mixed with blues, soul music. I mean, it was Otis Redding. Stax was Otis Redding, Booker T and the MGs, Albert King, Sam and Dave. I mean, those are hardcore soul and R&B acts.
Who did Phil Spector work for?
He didn't work for record.
Brother of Arlen Spector.
He worked
good. Thank you for filling
back to
that.
The Kennedy assassination.
Also involved in JFK assassination.
Exactly.
Wasn't he on the
Arlen Spector. Yes.
Warren Commission, right?
Exactly.
Anyway, go back to what you're saying. Phil Spector.
He didn't work for a label. He worked for himself, and he would produce the records, and they would be on whatever label. The bands would be on whatever label. But he had his own house band, basically, and his own stable of singers, including Ronnie, his wife at the time, who he mistreated horribly.
And where was he based out of, John?
He was based for a little bit in New York, but he ended up on the West Coast, I believe, is where he ended up doing most of his later stuff. Not later, but
did he take his musicians, his players with him?
I think he used what's their names, the Wrecking Crew, when he got to L.A. Okay. He was, the Wrecking Crew was the band for most of those.
And how do Stax acts and the Detroit acts differ from what Royce says he loves Philadelphia R&B?
Philadelphia is, I think, a whole completely different thing. It's very smooth. It's still soul and R&B, but there's definitely jazz overtones to it. It's Billy Paul, the OJs, tons of acts like that who are a little smoother.
Gladys Knight and the Pips, where do they figure in?
They were on Motown.
They were Motown.
They were on Motown. Yep.
I've always thought it would be the coolest job in the whole world would be to be one of the Pips. You get to do the cool dance moves. You get to just step up to the mic and give them a little something, and
then go back and do your dancing. Yes.
Yeah.
And cash a paycheck.
Yeah.
What's really cool about Motown to me is where Berry Gordy wanted it to be very poppy to start with. As all those artists started to get their own autonomy and demanded it from him, like Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder, it really became far more of an R&B label in the early 70s. Temptations, all that funky stuff. Papa Was Rolling Stone, Ball of Confusion. I mean,
I love that song. That's the song with the 3-minute ramp, right? Papa Was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah, with the little wah-wah and stuff at the beginning.
Yeah,
great percussion.
Song. Yeah.
So they changed a bit in the early 70s. It became far more hardcore R&B than they were in the 60s.
Do you? Sorry. Go ahead, Kenny.
Of those 3 different varieties of R&B, what would your favorite be if you have one?
I really, really, I love them all. I love them all, and depending on my mood, but I love the Philly stuff. It's just, musically, it's so well put together. But then again, Papa was Rolling Stone. I mean, you can't make a better record than that. I just love it all. I love all three of them.
McLean, do you have a problem, like evidently I do, with the fact that now today's artists still refer to themselves as R&B singers, or is that okay with you?
Well, what's your argument there?
That it's just pop music now. It's not R&B to me. It's pop.
Well, you're probably not listening to the current R&B that isn't played on, a lot of the station. I mean, do we have an R&B station here? I apologize for not knowing that.
Do we?
Yeah, it's definitely a separate category whenever
There's even like when we were talking about Erykah Badu, you weren't familiar with her, but she was huge, Kenny.
She was.
Gigantic. Yeah. And she's definitely an R&B singer.
Yeah, she is.
So the three of you, John and I know, but I get it would be Ross and Dawn. You don't know this. John's son, Dill, works with some artists out in L.A., and one of the artists he works with, we have a song of his, right, John? And it's the one where he's actually singing vocals. And Dawn, this sounds like it's right out of the late 60s. It is so
amazing. I love that.
R&B. It's just amazing. And go ahead, John.
I was just going to say the ironic part is they didn't finish it. They just stopped and said we don't want to do it.
They didn't finish this song, and it'll never be released. And I think the only way you can hear it is on GL. Wait.
Or
you have it? Listen to this.
We have to take this out of the podcast because you can't play music.
No.
Oh.
It's his song. They wrote it.
Come on, Dawn.
That's a falsetto.
I mean, that's basically the song, but it's good stuff.
That's great.
I wish I knew we were going here. I would have had Ross look it up on Reaver's stuff and play it.
We always have a next week.
We should use that one on this show.
What's it called? Does anybody know?
It's called Ice Cold.
How cold?
But the
Ice cold.
John, are these kids idiots? Because that song is absolute brilliance.
Well, but the thing
it's one of the best R&B songs I've ever heard. My God.
The people who are doing and having hits, they don't need to do that kind of song because the other junk is selling, for lack of a better way to put it.
Wow.
I don't see it in the system. I'll get it from Chris and have it at the ready the next time we need it.
Don, it's just an amazing number, and the fact that it'll never be heard by the public, and that we do have permission from them, and we're the only outlet that plays that. It's so frustrating to me that songs like that and artists we've never heard of will never hit the big time, yet we have to deal with acts like Green Day. You know what I mean?
Oh, shots fired.
Oh,
wow.
I know we're getting near wrapping up, but
no, we are done.
You guys, you started to allude to it, and that's where I hopped in a few moments ago. Do you three have, I'll give mine, but do you three have favorite songs that have enormously long ramps? I love John Mellencamp, John Cougar Mellencamp's I Need a Lover. The real version that has like the 2.5 minute ramp.
Because that's what you play every night.
Don, that was such a great shot.
Shots fired again.
I'm sorry. This is the name of this podcast. Shots fired.
It is with Don McLean. It is. It is the time of year where every night I go home and I see all these people with their happy little lives, and I go, I hope they all get divorced.
Oh my God.
No, I don't mean that. I'm just joking.
Right.
Here we go.
Do you guys have favorite songs though?
I can't think of one right now because I've got Reavers and Joe Souchere
I know they're all staring
breathing
at
down
us.
my neck.
John, what's the name of that? What's the name of that John Cougar song that I don't think they play anymore? But it was a video, and it's a gal dancing outside of a trailer house.
It was just something you filmed out of your trailer house.
Pink Houses, Paper and Fire.
No.
Check it out.
Something about dancing. Something about dancing. And Dawn, it's softcore porn is what it is.
The hell
what was it now?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You find this.
I'll look this up later tonight.
Yeah, while you listen to your I need a lover song.
that won't drive me crazy. Hey, guys, I have a couple of housekeeping items that I'm long overdue on.
Oh, my God.
I met a gentleman named Paul Lentner, who's a huge GL fan and Crabby Coffee Shop fan.
Sure.
I met him back in September and told him I would mention him on the pod. So
So you're picking the day that we're late.
Here I am 3 months later.
You got duped, Ross, because Paul, of all people, knows we never do shout-outs on the Garage Logic Network, ever.
Paul gets one because he attempted and told me if I didn't say his name, he would hunt me down at next year's tournament raising money for cystic fibrosis and beat me with a golf club. So
now he's my best friend.
I don't want that to happen. Also, kids, I checked out a movie yesterday that I don't know if you'll love it, but you guys need to.
What? We're doing a movie review?
We are. No, we have to.
Who is this?
Who's pressing the buttons, Kenny? This guy.
Yeah, good point.
Violent Night. You guys need to watch the previews for this and go see it. It is
very well aware.
It is incredible.
David Harbour, he's Santa. He kicks ass.
It is incredible.
I'll never go see it ever. I guess we're going to have to devote the last 5 minutes of
That's
every podcast.
because Kenny was the stand-in for Violent Night. Go on.
Yeah, the last 5 minutes of every podcast belong to Ross.
I just want you guys to. The joy that I felt watching Violent Night was incredible. You want your music?
Was it Mellencamp's
like
version
5 minutes ago?
Hang out?
Let it all hang out.
Yeah, I'm saying it's his wife, right?
I gotta go, guys.
The model.
Just
I'm leaving too. That's
I should too. I think Dawn looks like a nun with her hat like that, or hood. I mean,
Ross, take over.
This episode of the Crabby Coffee Shop sponsored by me, Ross Brendel. Talk to you soon.
Ross.
Thanks for listening to News from the Crabby Coffee Shop. New episodes drop every week wherever you get your podcasts.
And if you'd like to hear less of me and more of your message, GarageLogic.com, keyword partner. GarageLogic.com, keyword partner.